Well, hello. Let me just adjust some audios right here because we're not going to hear about the music today. I'm going to put this real quick. And I need to remove the follower count. Yep. So this is going to be another live stream of me just doing some testing on all of the hidden effects. I have not done any testing for the Shadowhunter. And today I'm just going to go over all 3 hidden effects for the Shadowhunter. So yes, this is one of the few characters that I have not done any testing. So I actually... Hold on, I actually need to put in the descriptions on all of the abilities. So at least I have an idea of what to expect if this one actually explains better than the actual description. But yes, got that right there. So good to go. Ready up. Let me know if the audio is fine as well. Let me just keep... I just started out the stream right there. Just made the thumbnail, started out the stream, and here I am. So, how's it going, everyone? Welcome back to another live stream. As always, I'm your host, Nadia, and today I'm going to be going over all of the hidden effects for the Shadowhunter. So I will be crafting 2 rings. Hopefully, I get it in only 2. Where's the Shadowhunter? Should I even go with this one? Yeah, sure, why not? See what kind of abilities I do get. Hopefully I don't get the same ring twice. I got the same ring twice. Tactical Shot, Unholy Heel. So that would be Sneaky Traps for this one, and the other 2 would be... Okay, cool. Sounds like the video quality? Nice. That's actually really nice. So, alright. I only got 2 prime loops. Let me just get the 3rd one real quick. So with this one, I will get Sneaky Traps. This one should be Tactical Shot. And this one is going to be Unholy Heel. So... time for testing, I guess. So yes, this is going to be another testing stream. I decided to do this more often. Because why not? Why not do some testing on all of the hidden effects instead of just leaving them off screen, and I can at least just talk to you guys, or if any of you guys actually notice anything. Let me just do a real quick checkup right there. So, all right, let me just put down the gamma a little bit because it's a little bit bright. Now it's actually a little bit darker, which is what I would like. So yeah, anyway, let me just unequip all of the rings and let us just read all of the description on every single one. So Sneaky Trap is when dodging, the Shadowhunter drops a stun snare. So yeah, this is going to be just like the Draco one. That's interesting. That's very nice. But yeah, I think it's best for me to actually just leave, well, not leave, to do this kind of things, because, you know, I always say, oh yes, I am doing off-stream testing, always testing off-stream. And instead of just leaving it off-stream, might as well just do it on stream here on YouTube rather than on Twitch. Twitch is just me for just random grinding. Anyways. A tactical shot using a fully charged rating arrow increases your damage temporarily. So this is going to be the one from the test server. So this one might take a little while because doing damage testing is rough if there is no increments on the stat value, which is going to be rough. Anyways. Alright. When enemies with Shadow Mark are defeated, the Shadowne... That's a typo. The Shadowne The shutdown. The shutdown. Well done, Des. Well done. I'm going to put that in the hidden effects video. I will read it as Shadow Hunter, but I will mention it as Shadow Hunter. Like, okay. It's still a small amount. So, Jesus, all of these are so bad. Hopefully with the reward, they make at least some of these good. Or they change it, because from what I am seeing right here, all of them are bad. They're just bad. So, Sun Snare. Okay. Here's one. Okay, so it does have a cooldown. Let us see. What is going to be the cooldown? It seems to be like what it says right there, so. Like around 5 seconds? From what I could tell. Around 5 seconds of cooldown. Sun Snare seems to be the same. Yeah, it's the same thing. Just, can you activate in midair and will it drop? No, it will just stay in midair, bruh. Okay. So this is like just a much terrible version of Clone Jutsu from Neon Ninja. Like it doesn't fall. It would have been nice if it actually falls, because the actual trap you can just throw it and it falls. So I don't. Yeah. I mean, no, that's just terrible. I'm just going to say that. Why is this even a thing? And I'm afraid that this might end up being the best one out of all of them, unsurprisingly, because I can see the only thing that I can see it being useful might be in Dells, when you're just running around and you're just laying down the trap so that enemies will just run into it. But aside from that, at that point, just throw the plant yourself, the trap yourself, the Sun Snare. So, I mean, you can have 2 of them, but how many is the limit? I don't remember the actual limit of these. Who cares either way? It's just 1 Sun Snare every 5 seconds on dodge. Yeah, every 5 seconds. Yeah, that's it. That's literally it. It's every 5 seconds you get this. The thing is with Sun Snare is that it does has its uses. It's pretty useful. It stuns really ridiculously huge radius. Like you can tell, the radius is really big, but the damage is so pathetic. Like it's only a 1 times damage. It's the same damage as basic. Like unless you are running really high stat, this ability is not useful for killing. And yeah, that's going to be how it is. I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to do DPS tests on Shadowhunter. This is testing ring abilities. But yeah, it's good. It's not a good ability. It's decent. The only problem is just that it does so low damage. At that point, just Radiant Arrow and look at the damage difference. Even though it takes a little while, like it's even more apparent when you actually do hit an enemy that's been shadow marked. First arrow is always 12.5, but yeah, it's useless. I mean, no, it's not useless, just bad. Oh, good. Sounds. This is not 72 mil. This is 7.2. 7.2 mil. That's my coefficient. So that's 1 times. So yes, this is 7.2. So yes, it is low damage. It is 1 times damage multiplier. Or in other words, coefficient damage. Anyways, let's move on to the next one. That is just a big rip. Alright, so this one, is there any indication, first and foremost? There is. Okay, that's a good thing. So that's the first thing. The first thing that you need to take into account, this symbol right there. That is the indication. It seems to be a pretty long time. Alright. Does it refresh or... It's a 100% uptime, pretty much. I ran out of energy. It seems to be 100% uptime. So pretty much the cooldown is the whole duration. That's the first thing to keep in note. Alright. So in other words, technically it does not have a cooldown. Well, the cooldown is just the actual ability itself. So I'm 323. I don't go up in damage. I am dealing around 8 mil from 7.2. That's not a, that's like a 10% damage increase. Not even, I mean, probably more, but it seems like around 10. It seems to be quite, you know, quite a lengthy amount of time. Which is a good thing. Because I'm doing around, well, I'm actually doing 6.7. I forgot that I have a C2 ring instead of a C4 ring. But yeah, this is my actual regular damage, 6.7 mil. If I hit it with this ability, then my damage goes to 8 mil. For the whole duration, that is right there, which is, again, not bad, but is also not great. It's just clunky, from what I could tell. It's clunky from... Like it is, it's very, very clunky. Yeah, that's the only thing that I could see. Be only good for DPS. I could, like, from what I could tell, since I'm dealing 6.7, if I'm doing rough math, from 6.7 to 8, almost 8.1 mil, I'm actually getting maybe 20% more damage. And this seems to be like not showcased right here, so it's a stable 20%. So no matter if I actually unequip all of my stuff, then it's going to be pretty much the same. I'll probably just do, you know what? I should have, let me just have the calculator ready up. Alright, got the calculator on my second monitor right there. So let me just see. So my current, so I need to just first and foremost, what is my actual damage? 875, 381. I need to divide that to wait until my buff goes away. Okay, divide that by 6729484. Yeah, that's a 20% damage increase. Exactly 20% damage increase. So let me just unequip something. Let's just say allies. For, you know, for that. Alright, so 6.1. I should expect... Okay, 7... 388, 115. Divide that. Five, 6, 1, 5, 6, 7, 6, 3. Definitely there's decibel from what I could tell, but yes, definitely it is also 20%. Yeah, it's 20%. 20% more damage for the whole duration. Which is, again, it's not bad. Could be better. But 20% more DPS on a Shadow Hunter, which is already low on DPS. That's not great. I'll just say. It's alright, but not great either. It might help out. Probably, I think it will help out more than the Sun Snare. I don't know. It depends. If you actually do need that extra bit of damage with the Shadow Hunter, if you're not killing fast enough, then maybe just throw in a Radiant Arrow, maybe through a wall, through an enemy, so you can actually just get the damage bump and just get quite a bit of damage bump for quite a while. Actually, I need to check out what is the actual timer. So, let's go. $15 seconds? Yeah, 15. So 15-second duration, 20% more damage on essentially no cooldown. Well, 15-second cooldown, but that's not bad. But it's 20% more damage. Like, on any other character, 20% more damage would have been insane. Imagine a 20% more damage, but on something like Chloromancer or Ice Age. Like, that would have been insane. But considering that the Shadow Hunter is... Like, 20% on the Shadow Hunter is so little. Like, you're barely even going to notice any difference. Like a 20% bonus, like total damage increase. This is total damage increase, no bonus percentage, no base. Like, this is total 20%. This is the, you know, tied among the strongest increase in buff in the entire game. But it's on the Shadow Hunter. Like on a lot of the other characters actually really good. On this character, I wouldn't say this is bad as well with the Shadow Hunter. But it's not a ridiculously huge difference compared to if you give this type of damage increase to another character, like an actual DPS type character. What the Shadow Hunter needs in my eyes is just movement. Movement speed, mobility, all that stuff. That's the thing that I would say that the character really needs. Like, the good thing about the Radiant Arrow is that you can hit through walls, which is super easy to maintain the ability. You can just just hit through wall and then just keep moving on with the damage increase, but again, it's just too clunky. This takes like around a second to fully charge. And for the majority of the classes, it's not so good. You don't want pretty much a 1 second ability that actually lowers your movement speed by a lot. Like, this is my movement speed with Radiant Arrow. This is my regular movement speed. Like, there's quite a bit of difference. And it's going to be even more difference once you add a movement speed buff into the mix. So, all right. I really don't need to even add in note. It's super, like, all of them seems to be super easy to understand. This one is a 5-second timer, 1 times damage multiplier. Well, not 5-second timer, 5-second cooldown. Sun Snare on dodge. This one is a 20% damage increase after you hit with fully charged radiant arrow and you get a 20% damage increase for 15 seconds on a 15-second cooldown, but it starts as soon as you hit it starts as soon as you hit the enemy once again, so essentially has no cooldown. And lastly, it's just going to be Unholy Heel. So for the Unholy Heel testing, this one is the one that it might be just quite troublesome. Because the thing is just still can get over the Shadow Hunter. Well done, devs. You gotta get over the fact that the healing, how much do you actually get healed and such. So for that, I will remove my ally, and I will also remove Vampire Vanquisher, because those are my 2 healing items. So I got no heals whatsoever. Let me go into U10 topside. It's just so bad. Like healing feels so out of place, especially considering that Vampire Vanquisher is a thing. Then, yeah, I don't know. Let me just keep using that. Well, do I need that? Well, I don't want to use that Define Vial as well, but I'm afraid that I might just end up getting deleted, but who cares? It's part of testing. Let me just remove that Define Vial so it doesn't proc. This one. Excuse me? Why am I getting healed? Do I still have something that is healing me? Or is it just literally that from this ability? Let me just get rid of the ring. That's the heal. You gotta be kidding me. That's the actual heal. What? That is pathetic. That is so bad. That is so bad. And by the way, this is another ability that there's no indication that this ability is even procced. Because there is a buff, definitely. Oh my god, that is pathetic. Is this HP healing? So, what is my health? So, I do believe, yeah, I do believe that's a run I think that's a 5% heal. 5%? A 5% HP heal. That is terrible. Let me just get rid of my hat and face, so my HP is now 400k. You, tag me. Dude, I'm going to get deleted. Yep, that's literally the ability. And from the looks of it, you get a buff for 5 seconds, roughly. God, this. Who thought this was a good idea? Who thought this was a good idea? So you're telling me, look at how dumb this sounds. So you're telling me this hidden effect right here heals you 3 times less than animated jug, and it works exactly the same, but it's only tied to after you kill an enemy that has been shadow marked. So from what I could tell, how it works is if you kill an enemy that's been shadow marked by your passive ability, right? So, okay, come on, tag, okay, that. If you kill an enemy with that ability on, then you get a buff, essentially. And that buff essentially makes it so that every time you do kill an enemy, you are going to get 5% of your HP back, and that's going to last for 5 seconds, and then you have to kill an enemy once again that has been shadow marked. And it makes sense that is 5 seconds because the shadow mark passive ability tags enemies every 5 seconds. If it doesn't say right here, no, it doesn't say right here, but the shadow mark passive ability actually tags enemies every 5 seconds. So I'm pretty sure what they try to do is, oh yeah, so since you can tag enemy every 5 seconds, give or take, then you get yourself a buff that lasts for the same amount of time that it takes from one shadow mark to another. But come on, devs. Like, come on. Come on. If you combined this effect with this damage increase, it will still be alright at best. It will be alright. 20% damage if you kill an enemy that's been shadow marked by the passive ability would have been alright. But come on, 5% HP? 5% HP every time you kill an enemy. That is inconceivable. That is ridiculous. Animated jug, like you can tell right here, animated jug is 15% every time a nearby enemy dies. So, first of all, with the ring ability, you have to kill the enemy. Secondly, the enemy has to be shadow marked. Third, you get the buff after you kill an enemy that's been shadow marked. Just to get 5% HP back every time you do kill an enemy. 5% HP every time you do kill an enemy for 5 seconds, and then you have to kill another enemy that has been shadow marked. Just for 5% each enemy. And need I remind you that the allies exist. So let me just get rid of the ring. And if I go like here, that's 15% right here. The percent stack, I'm pretty sure they do. I'm pretty sure all of them stack. I'm pretty sure it stacks with every single one. So if you have ally, that's 15. With this one is 5 more, so that's 20% because that's how they count. So going to be like this. So you can see pretty much two healing at the same time. So that's 5%, 15, 20%. And that's about it. That is so terrible. So need I remind you that this ability exists as well? Vampire and Vanquisher is a thing. So if I get hit, I can just heal pretty much essentially instant because Vampire Vanquisher is so broken. Come on, attack me. Attack me. Oh yeah, I am almost dead. Boom, heal 100% because Vampire Vanquisher. That is a good lifesteal right there. This is a terrible one. Like, that is a terrible one. A Vampire Vanquisher is... It just already overshadows everything regarding lifesteals. That's why you can generally just use every single character like no problem. Especially in Uber 10 Grinded, just because Vampire Vanquisher is a thing. But yeah, that's essentially all 3 hidden effects. They're very simple. Very, very simple. Yeah, for a primal loop, I guess best just to get a ring that is crystal level 4 with no stat, and that's it. That's why like they really need to just check this ring abilities when they're going to be using this character for test server, like whenever the reward decide to come out. Like whenever the reworks decides to come out, they really need to double check all of this ring ability. Because they're so terrible. So what I would do personally, in order to actually just make all the ring effects, at least one of them, yeah, I don't know. I'm pretty sure some of them are, but at the same time, they did test all of them in the test server, because most of these abilities were already in the test server way past before the crystal ring was actually a thing. So a lot of them were even there. Like for example, this ability, Tactical Shot, was part of one of the first ring modifier that they added in the test server way back when Depth Stepper was it Depth Stepper or Tune-Up? I don't remember. I think it was Depth Stepper update that they started adding in all of the ring effects. So it's just, here's the thing, they don't test. Well, they test out, but they don't play the game enough to see that, oh yeah, this is pretty useless. They just drop it and be like, oh yeah, deal with it. That's all she wrote. That's why there's so many abilities that are blatantly overpowered, and there are so many abilities which are just good. And there are some that are just useless. It's just they just put in something like, oh yeah, this might work, I guess. More like maybe this will work, and they just drop it and they just leave it at that. Yeah, they usually don't play, like whenever they only play the regular game, it's just to when it comes to events, and that's it. And hardly that, they just showcase it a little bit because they don't know what the hell they're doing. So they really need to revisit, like if they're going to do something for the shadow, they really need to revisit this, all of this ring effects, because these are bad, like really, really bad. Almost to the point of why even bother putting them in the first place. It's pretty sad. unfortunately. The kind of ability that we are dealt with Shadowhunters. And it's a shame because it would have been nice that some of the stronger characters got weaker ring ability, but some of the weaker characters actually would have gotten strong ring abilities. Like, for example, Boomeranger got Blast Bow, and that ability is amazing for the character. The character did not get a reward, but that ability alone just makes the character that much better. But there are so many abilities, but characters like this one, it seems that there's nothing good. Like, for example, the other character that comes to mind is Dino Tamer. Dino Tamer also has pretty bad ones as well. But some of the things that would have been nice for the Shadowhunter, in my eyes, that they would have added is, obviously, if they're going with the killing with Shadow Mark enemies, give the Shadowhunter a damage boost. And not even a 20% damage boost, a 50% damage boost would have been nice. 50% damage boost would have been okay. The character wouldn't shoot up at being overpowered, it would just be okay. The other thing that would have been nice, it was Radiant Arrow. Just, I don't know, something regarding Radiant Arrow. If you, let's just say, if you hit an enemy with a fully charged Radiant Arrow, then all of your shots for the next 15 seconds are going to be pierced. It's going to make it a really clunky mechanic, and it's not going to change a whole lot from what it is right now. We killed that boss enemies. There we go. But at least would have been something. So, I don't know, stuff like that. Like, the character, in my eyes, the things that this character needs, and what I'm hoping for whenever they decide to put in a rework for the character is, number one, the first thing that it would have been nice for the character would be mobility. Better mobility. As in, more movement speed and less movement speed reduction from stuff. Like, you know, basic attack actually reduces your movement speed. Just get rid of that. Give the character a movement speed buff in any way, shape, or form, even if it is like a plus 20 or 30. Still would be nice. What else? Obviously, the better crowd control for piercing or AoE on basics. I'm just hoping, since they've been giving pretty much all of the characters recently, in terms of movement speed buff, they've been giving them insane movement speed buff. For example, Lunar Lancer's Need for Speed is 85%, Bard is 40%. You know, those are some of the most insane movement speed buff in the entire game, which is weird to think about because back then the only movement speed buff that was percentage was the Draco's Lava passive and the Neon Ninja. Those were the only two. Now it seems to be like there's more movement speed buff everywhere. So it would have been nice to see Shadowhunter get a movement speed buff. And mobility increase, movement speed buff, and better crowd control. Like, I've heard people just say, like, just give the character more damage, which, no. Well, yes, but no. Because I see where some people are coming from. Like, the Shadowhunter needs damage increase for sure, but I've heard like some people just say, just make it like as strong as something like the Chloromancer. It's like, no. You want a character that is this easy to use to be as strong as the Chloromancer without any setup? Like, no. Like do the same, like do same or even close to the DPS of the Chloromancer, while being a character with barely any setup comparable to Chloromancer, which has, you know, setup. This basic attack is instant, so it would just translate over to dungeon grinding, so it will make the character just strictly overpowered at that point. Like like the character needs a damage increase, but I've always been like, for me, in terms of like giving suggestion of how much damage would be great for the Shadow Hunter, it would be better if the character got a damage increase but not a whole lot. This character I do feel works best for dungeon grinding as a speed farmer. It just has the tools to make the character good for speed farming. It's a smooth playstyle right here, so I don't think just making the character a DPS type character would be just great. And if you make it too good in DPS while retaining the same gameplay, would just make the character overpowered. And at that point, what would be the point in using any other character besides Shadowhunter, because Shadowhunter is already doing everything that every other character is doing. You get what I mean? So that's why I'm like reluctant to say like, oh yeah, they give it a lot of damage, but yeah, heck, I not like I got like a huge voice behind all of this. I'm not going to just say, oh yes, I make change happens. That ultimate ability needs better crowd control. And that would have been pretty interesting, like a damage over time whenever you hit an enemy, like let's just say venom arrows, something like that. It would be called like something like venom arrows, and hitting an enemy will just cause a damage over time. And it has to be like a really fast damage over time, like the passive ability, not the passive, the subclass. Like if you don't know if like I don't see a lot of people using that any of these two subclasses, like the Shadowhunter or Draco for Rampage. Like this subclass is pretty nuts. Let me see if I can find a boss so you can actually just see. Yeah, that would have been crazy. You can use two effects. Some of the character would be pretty nice, especially like something like Ice Age. Let me see, I can just do one swipe right there. No, wait then. But yeah, you can see all those numbers just flowing by everywhere. That damage over time is just crazy. You know what? Let me just go with parts of Shadowhunter Yi. Actually, let me just do the dailies. Why not? This testing was so short. Might as well just do the daily 5 stars here. Just discuss a little bit, because this one was definitely a really short testing, and this might be a really short video. That's for sure. So yeah, I will say, like, I'm super interested just to see what can they do to the Shadowhunter, because the Shadowhunter is unlike some of the other characters that they rework thus far. Some of the other characters, like for example Lunar Lancer, the rework was like they made the character, instead of a spam 1 ability, they just make a character that is a basic attack type character that uses all types of abilities and such. And Chloromancer essentially just took the pre-existing class gem ability and just made it so much stronger. But considering from what we've heard from the devs themselves is that they want to retain the same gameplay style of the Shadowhunter. So what are they planning to do with the character? What are the plans? Because it cannot be simply just like, oh yes, let's increase the damage on the basic attack and just leave it at that. Which a lot of people would be okay and fine with that, but at the same time, how much would they increase it? Like this basic attack is, it can easily be overpowered if it is overtuned, and it is very easy to get overtuned because of how this basic attack works. That's the thing that I'm trying to say. Like that's why I'm just so interested to see what are they planning to do. Because this ability is just that. Well, this basic attack on the class gem is just that. Is extremely fragile to be. Well, I wouldn't say fragile, but it's just like one little buff away of being overpowered. Because if you, let's just say for example, if they increase the damage multiplier to, let's just say 2 times damage multiplier, on some of the other characters that wouldn't be that big of a deal because it's a 1 times damage increase. But considering that Shadowhunter shoots 12 times per second, and essentially giving it double damage, you can easily tell that this character will immediately just shoot up in effectiveness, essentially as an overall character. And the same thing could be said as in, if they increase it by just a tad bit, just very, very small amount, then that wouldn't make that huge of a difference because this character's already pretty low damage. It's just so weird. Like they really need to be well, I wouldn't say they really need to be careful. To be completely honest, screw it. They just make it as strong as possible, but they really need to just that is definitely just like one step away from just being overpowered. It's the same situation that, for example, the knight was in. You know, that the knight was just in this awkward situation that the character was just so good to be. And it was literally one movement speed buff away from being just extremely powerful. I feel that this basic attack is in the same thing, in the same realm. Yeah, honestly, like if they improve it by just a smidge, people will immediately just start using the Shadowhunter and they will be like, oh yes, this is like the glory days from the Shadowhunter. The character is all so good, but the difference is just so small. Because let me tell you, I have heard that so many times. It's so ridiculous. Like, oh, I remember the good old days when the Shadowhunter was really, really good. And I'm like, Shadowhunter never got changed. The character is literally the same class. Like, it's the same thing with the Revenant, where a lot of people were just going crazy over the Revenant after the Delves update. They're like, oh yeah, the Revenant is not the same anymore. He's just weaker. I'm like, you do realize the character didn't get nerfed ever. It's the same character that everyone was using like crazy. It's just, hey, it's not as good. It's not as good as it was when it was speedruns, but it's still a good class. Yeah, it makes no sense. It's just that here's the thing. It's not like the Shadowhunter got weaker or the Shadowhunter is bad. It's just that some of the other characters just got better. Well, there's 2 5-stars, so let me just got the quests quick. Okay. Actually, now that you mentioned regarding the Shadowhunter needs to be better without the class gem, I've had this weird idea. And it's not so much as a weird idea. I think that would have been great if they just implement this as, you know, as a regular part for the Shadowhunter. And that would be if they just make this basic attack that you see right here the regular non-class gem basic, but the class gem just amplifies this. Wouldn't that be great? Making the character obviously not needing attack speed like at all. That's the first thing that they should just go. But the second thing is just going to be that the character will just feel great even at the early portions of the game. You know, making this basic attack the regular basic attack, but just to not make it too strong. It's not like this basic attack is too strong. Just remove the explosion and just add in the explosion as part of the class gem, and then just add in something extra, like another property, like more damage or better crowd control, piercing, whatever. Those are the things. Do I think that they're going to remove the ring? I mean, they have not mentioned anything, and considering that it's going to be really tough for them to actually fix that glitch. I will probably just say they might just end up implementing it in a similar way to what they did with the headless. You know, before headless was actually a glitch. Going headless with every single class was actually a glitch. And they just ultimately implemented into the game. Now you can go headless on any single class. So I'm pretty sure they might just end up doing the same thing. Because it is going to be very tough for them to actually fix that, because it's literally a quick swap. And since the quick swap, and since that only works because of the servers being so laggy, because it allows you to select the item before the servers even register that it actually even moves, I would probably just say it's just going to be super tough, and they might just end up leaving it as it is right now, and then maybe end up adding into a feature in the future. Who knows? They might just patch it, but just actually thinking about it is just going to be super tough. Yeah, they really need to make that's an idea that I had. They really need to make this basic attack the non-class gem basic, and with the class gem it should be just amplified from that. Let me see. Something about dragon scales and Shoutout not initially not giving Stan in a previous video too. Do I remember? Yes, Shoutout didn't actually give stats. Now that I remember, yes. I think Shoutout didn't give any stat from the one from the Sagely Blue Dragon Scales. It originally didn't give any stats, but they just gave stats to that dragon. Because since it was a mount that technically was a dragon, but that didn't cost any dragon, so it didn't give any stats. But they added like later on. That I do believe that's what it was. Like Showdown was actually something that it actually didn't grant anything. Like stuff like this it happens. I'm pretty sure they might just end up just saying screw it and just adding it as a feature, because it's so tough. Like it is so tough to actually fix the glitch. It's going to be tough. Because here's the thing. They need to just remove the option, because why, like, if it weren't, like, I'm going to assume that it was supposed to be a feature in the future. Like, I'm pretty sure it might end up being a feature, because why does it work in the first place? Like, I already tried it with banners, and with the banners, it doesn't show anything. So the fact that it works on the rings, I'm pretty sure they were planning to add it as a feature. So I will say that maybe they just scrapped the idea, and the glitch just remained. Oh, well, pretty much the feature remained. And let's just also be real, like, it's not like this is going to be extremely game-breaking and exploit as well. This is just a really small stat boost increase at the end of the day. It's just a small stat boost increase. It's not like it ultimately is making all of your characters ridiculously overpowered. Like, the only thing that I see it being somewhat like, okay, this is pretty strong, is just the amount of stats that you can get. Like, that's it. You know what I mean? Like, it's a small stat increase, but the only thing that I see it being pretty useful, it might just end up being, oh yeah, that you can just run full Magifying equipment, but still also run damage on faces, critical hit on weapons, or energy regeneration, and maximum health, and stuff like that. That's the only thing just being, well, not maximum health. Critical hit, jumps, energy regeneration, and stuff like that. Those are the only thing that I see it being just pretty decent, just running a full Magifying equipment, but including ring. But then again, it's just such a small increase. Even though, like, the energy regen is actually really nice on certain classes, so yeah, I don't know. Yeah. I think it's time to get then. I think it's time for the devs to actually just consider this year to add in a big power rank update. I think it's time. The last update was Crystal Combat. Essentially the last big update that just increased our power rank by a lot. And Trove is being glitchy. Yay. Some of the other updates that we've gotten, like increase in power rank, like Delves, like Into the Deep, etc., etc. Those were small increments. But stuff like Crystal Combat was a huge increase. Like the maximum went from 26,000 power into 34 in just one update. So I think that it's just time for them to actually just consider doing that. Yeah, Trove. Here's the thing. I find it so funny because I see so many people, Trove is dying, Trove is dead. And when you actually see this statistic, it's like, not really. Trove is stagnated, yes, but it doesn't go, like, it doesn't grow way more popular, but it also doesn't lose popularity. Like, the game wasn't too popular to begin with. It was popular only at one time, especially during when it was only in PC, Mental Power, when it was a new game. But you know, this game has been out since 2015 on PC. Like, obviously it's going to gradually just decrease in popularity because it's an older game. And heck, it might end up being here since 2014 for those who play on Alpha. So for those who play on Alpha, that was 2014. For those who played during the open beta on PC, that was 2015. And Trove is, from what I could tell, Trove is just hit a plateau. They just drop an update, the game becomes popular for a couple of days, and then just goes back down to what it is right now. And once again, same thing goes. Another update. Everyone plays it on the first couple of days, and then they just leave. That's just how it is. That's not just Trove, that's literally any MMORPG. Or any game in general, to be honest. Yeah. It is just like that. It depends on how people look at it. It's just Trove and any other game. People have preference. Some people like it, some people don't. Could this game be handled better? Yes. But is it fine the way that it is right now? Yes. That's why, like, the game is different, but not too different to what it was back then. Like the glory days, like people call it. But if you actually think about it, look at all of the things that they added over the years. Some of the things that you actually do use them or do every single day. That if Trove didn't change from all of these years to what it was before to what it is right now, then you might not be, you might not end up being playing the game. Like, at all. They added so many things that are just good into the game. Comparable to something like 2017, which is what a lot of people call the glory days, because those were like console beta and such. You know, in the console beta, like Trove, like they added the crafting inventory, the better loot collector, pretty much essentially just made the gem system not so terrible. And you get the point. Classes, reworks. And yeah. This game would be just... Because here's the thing. This is a thing that I discussed on my Twitch, on my last live stream that I did on my Twitch. Trove is... The problem with Trove is not that it doesn't give frequent updates. Because let's be real, it does get frequent updates. The problem is the development cycle behind Trove is that they just go really vague and they just don't tell anyone that what they are working on in order to generate hype. So they don't really know how to generate hype on the game and just keep telling players, oh yeah, we're working on this, or this is going to be stuff that we're working for the future. They just drop it like 1 or 2 weeks before the actual update itself. Like for example, the Shadowhunter rework, God knows how long they've been working on that rework. Probably several months already. And since they don't generate a hype for the game, the players are just going to be like, well, you know what, screw it, I'm just going to play another game because this game is not getting updates. So that's why it feels like it never gets updated, but the game actually gets constant update, like more so than a lot of other games that I know of. Like one MMORPG that's been standing for well over 20 years gets essentially 2 updates a year. But the updates are big enough that last for a while and they're consistent so players know when to expect those updates. Trove actually gets an update every 2 or 3 months on average, which is not bad. Like that's 4 to 6 updates a year, which is again not bad. But the problem is those in between updates, they just don't say anything. They just keep it quiet. They don't say anything, and people are just like, when is the next thing coming up? And when they drop the update, is usually a smaller update that, you know, people are just constantly grinding over and over and over again. But that's it. They don't tell like what is going to be the next big update that they're working, and they might just drop in smaller updates in the meantime. Like for example, what I would personally go for, if let's just say if I were a developer or someone that would just do the community management or whatever. There's a thing that I've learned from doing YouTube for 3.5 years now. A thing that you need to do is constant reminder to the people that are watching or playing the game essentially. You need constant reminder, you know, to let people know that you're there. So what I would personally do is that if we're working on smaller update, we will just give hints to the big update. We will just keep dropping smaller update until we just get closer and closer to the big update. And essentially pretty much every single month would be or every single 2 weeks would have been greater, just to have a live stream just explaining what they would do, what I would do, and you get the point. Like what I would personally do just to improve the game, listen to the community, have a live stream just listening to questions and such. That would help out, but they don't do it, which is why the game has problems with feeling like, oh yeah, this game is dead, it doesn't get updates. It actually does, but it doesn't feel like it. I think it would be fine if they work on Geo and make Geo. They really need to look Geo once again. Like they really do. Geo, they feel so slow. The fact that delves already are a thing, they really need to make Geo just run around like at this speed. Just imagine, so you can just use the depth chargers and bombs just to make it better, so stuff like Bardian wouldn't be such a headache. And like they really need to just overlook the Geo. They should make a North American version, a EU version, kind of merge on console, but they won't do it. They don't do it on PlayStation. That's the only problem. PlayStation is the only one that doesn't do it. Xbox, EU, and NA are merged. It's always been merged. But PlayStation, for some reason, is not merged. I don't know why. They really need to just consider merging those two servers, EU and NA. Just leave them the same way that it is right now on Xbox. Like, for example, some of the players, like I'm NA, like US, but some of the top players, like most of the players are right there in the top in terms of leaderboard, they're from EU. So yeah, I don't know why they don't merge it on PlayStation. They really need to do it. It's been such an issue like lately. Yeah. Easy solution, just make them, you know, since they've already waited for so long, make it so that you can just use both characters. Not both characters, but both accounts. You can just swap between accounts right there. I mean, it's not like it's not like Xbox, you cannot just use different types of accounts really quickly. Like, yeah, crossplay, cross save, something along those lines would have been great for this game as well. Crossplay would be what I would say, like crossplay would be pretty nice. But yeah, I don't know. If I were to give you, I mean, if you're doing a video, might as well just think about it yourself. But you know what? I'm not gonna be that guy just thinking, oh yes, I'm going to take the video idea and just make it my own. I always do say this. The biggest tip that I can give anyone at any portion of the game, no matter what you're doing in Trove, be patient in this game. Do not rush anything in this game. Patience is the biggest thing that will allow you to progress into this game. This game rewards dedication. It doesn't reward, you know, skill, quote unquote, or doesn't reward players who are just super efficient. Now it just rewards dedication. If you play the game a lot, you are going to progress a lot. If you try to rush things out and you play a little bit, you're not going to progress and you're going to get impatient, especially during the higher portions of the game. So be patient. That's it. That's the biggest tip that I can give. And that's what I always do say. It's like you are going to get there eventually. If you're patient enough, you are going to get it. That's it. Like, it's not like, for me personally, I didn't get to this point in like nothing. Like, if I type in /played, that's not counting the times in the main menu. Let me just get rid of, like, you can tell right over there, 297 days played. You know, I played a whole lot in this game. I didn't get to this point just being efficient and such, like, whatever you want to call it. Played this game for 5 years, so I know that. But yeah, just to answer the question, does Shadowhunter require skill? No. It's just literally just hold downward button. That's why if they make it too strong in terms of damage output, then the character would be just broken as hell, because it's so easy to use. But yeah, that is just how I look at things in this game. There are plenty of other tips that I can give away, obviously, but usually everything boils down to just be patient. Just don't treat the game like your life depended on it. Do not treat it like a competitive game. Do not treat it like, oh yes, I need to just get everything done as fast as possible, otherwise I'm not going to catch up. Trust me, you're going to catch up eventually, considering how this game is. Like I just mentioned, when was the last time that we got a huge power rank update that actually increased our power rank by a lot? It was Crystal Combat, so yeah. That is it. I'm just selling that because that's a thing that I've learned over the years. I've learned that there's no point in just going. Like right now, I rush a lot of things, especially when it comes to event stuff. I do rush things out, but that's because I already know how to do it. But for newer players, like, well, I try my best. That is how it is. I try my best. My goal has always been try to help out, or try to just put out stuff that it is missing out there, or just have something that you can just sit back and just have a good time. Yeah. Oh well. I do think that just with the join button, I think you had to be verified, if I do recall correctly. Which I'm nowhere near close that one. That's like, whew, way, like a really long way to go. Really, really long way to go. Anyways, but especially lately on some of my other videos, the thing that I'm trying to just put out there is not something like, oh yes, how to make really good vlogs. Oh yes, how to get a lot of EXP, you know, the what I like to call the standard YouTube videos. You know, I can do those type of videos, obviously, like, oh yes, how to make vlogs, how to make a lot of EXP. And, you know, that could be quote unquote the easy views, like you can call it, but also at the same time is, I like to put out videos out there that, you know, about information that you don't find anywhere. For example, like the ring ability that I'm doing right here, there's no information that tells you anything about all of them. So yeah, some of this that I've been looking at some of the mods on PC for Trove, and they like what Trove needs is more of the quality of life mods, and just add it in as an actual thing. But yeah, by the way, just to answer the question on the ring FX videos, the next video is obviously going to be Shadow Hunter, which is the reason I did this live stream. And then afterwards, I'm just going to put in a poll, like similar to what I've been doing pretty much on all of the other videos. I'm just going to put in a poll probably later on after I'm done with this stream. And so I'll leave you guys with votes, so you can just vote for which character just decides to drop, because how I'm able to check out the poll is just I put in a random number generator and it just go from 1 to 17, and depending on the number that it lands, that's the character that it is. And yeah, I just choose the 5 characters and just leave them as a poll. Yeah, I mean, it's not bad, obviously. I'm not going to say that just putting in videos that are just too obvious it's not bad, because there are some people that are just clueless and they really don't know anything that's been going on. So it does help them out, like the newer players, but they really need to they also like videos, like information videos that for stuff that really needs to be spread out there. Like for example, a lot of people are still confused, how does every single ability work? You know, that's information that needs to be said regularly on the wiki or something like that, but it's not anywhere, so I take it up on myself and just put it out there. And stuff like little things that I just discovered as well, like for example what I did with the Tomb Racer. You know, the fact that the Tomb Racer, if you do have one skeletal alive and you press the ability with multiple, then obviously there's a lot more. You know, stuff like that I just discovered and like, that what, huh? So I also share those type of videos. And last but not least, definitely character videos, class videos. Not builds, but just explaining the class and giving opinions on the class. That's also another thing that I do, which is what blew my channel up in the first place, actually. My channel blew up thanks to the 30,000 power rank on every single class series, which I did it back in 2019. You know, a lot of people just know me from that. Yeah, there's some, it's just that there's some weird things out there that just makes you think like, huh? Excuse you? And there's also another one, which I'm not going to mention which character it is, but I also noticed a new one. Well, I did notice a new one. This one I knew it since way back. And it's just another very, very interesting little tidbit of info that I noticed, which I'll tell sooner or later, but I'll say it. I'm not going to say which character it is because, yeah, I wanted to leave it as a surprise. But yeah, it's just fun. For me, the hidden effects videos, I did them not because of the views, because I knew for a fact that the hidden effects video was not going to be the most popular series out there. But it's definitely is going to be one of the more interesting, or what I like to call the timeless type of videos. Like if it doesn't get patched, then you can just sit back and just look at it and just learn a little bit here and there. Which is what I would like. It is just purely information based series, which I am enjoying a lot. In fact, from the editing process to the script writing, to heck, even the weird shenanigans that I find during testing. Those are fun. Those are very interesting for me. Thank God that I was fortunate enough to, but I grind a whole lot either way, but thankfully I did manage to get a lot of primal loops, so I'm able to do all of these instead of just leaving some of those other poor souls out there just to go and use stuff like this, like Unholy Heel. Yikes. Yikes. That's all I gotta say. Yikes. Like, you know, also I've heard many things in the background. Obviously, like I just mentioned, I've been doing this for 3.5 years. You know, if you do this for not even that long of a time, there's going to be people that are just going to try to compare you to other content creators. I personally don't like comparison between myself and anyone else. Everyone just do what they like to do. I'm not going to deny their content. The fact that they're doing content for the game is already good enough for me. But yeah, I've heard some comparison like, oh yeah, no, this and this person, I personally myself, I don't sound lively. I'm like, what do you expect from me? Just go, what's up, everyone? Yeah. Just go, what's up, YouTube? It's your boy. You know, stuff like that. No, that's not me. You know, I can go crazy, let me tell you. But yeah, it's just what it is. You know, I can go really ham on editing and just add in just weird meme explosion and shenanigans. Like, for example, the ring effects that I did before the hidden effects video. You know, that was a short series of me just having fun with some of the abilities, which I cut down 2 videos. Actually, one of them was blast bow, one of them was Gatling. Gatling, obviously. I just left it as part of the hidden effects video, and I might end up still doing the blast bow video. But maybe after, if I ever do like the boomeranger hidden effects video, I might end up doing it afterwards. But yeah, that's just how it is. Just chatting around here, because why not? I'll probably just leave a timestamp in the comments of this live stream, so people who are just tuning in into the live stream and just wanted to see how does every single testing on it in NFX works, I will just leave a timestamp so you can see it. I think it's just best for me to just chat around. Like, I usually don't have the... Well, I do have the time, but I don't chat too much with the YouTube side of things. And normally I do chat a whole lot with the Twitch audience, but for the most part it's just me just grinding. And not a whole lot of chatting, and mostly me just telling stories and such. But chatting around here, I need to do this more often. Maybe I'll do like a Q&A of 4K. I'm planning to do that, might as well. 4K subs, Q&A, woohoo, fun times. Even though I don't mind answering questions right now. Whatever. Yeah, it is fun, interesting. Which I always find it really funny. Because well, regarding the comparisons that I do mention, is I've also heard the other side of things. Not people, not comparing myself to other people, but comparing other people to me. I just hear it and I'm like, yeah, that's fun. Okay, cool, I guess. But I'm not going to just sit and just put myself above anyone. That's why whenever I mention Scythe, I just mention it like, you know, I always, I do mention it here from time to time, and I will say, you know, I do respect the man. The fact that he's been doing this for multiple years, essentially sticking with this game for many years, it's a hard task. I can vouch for that one. Me, myself, doing it for 3.5 years, I can vouch for that. Like, it's a hard task just to keep maintaining consistent, because there are some times where, you know, the game, there's no updates for the game or whatever it might be. So, and same thing is, like, I do respect them, but whenever I do mention it, or whenever I just decide to post a video of his on my Discord, people will just go like, oh yes, cringe, what is wrong with you? And like, you know. And like, yeah, you know, I still do respect the man, especially like, I don't cover every single bit of information, especially regarding news. Like, I'll tip my hat to him, just straight on putting news every single time that there's something going on. Let me just tell you, that is, I wouldn't say that is impossible to do, but it's definitely hard to do, because you have to constantly keep watch on everything that's going on, and then just have other people just telling you what's going on so you can actually check out yourself. Like, I do have some people that actually do tell me some of the information, but not all of the information. So, yeah. Yeah. Yeah, it's like a bit of relaxation, so you can actually just chill. Let's go. Again, no, not go like I just mentioned, just go. Let's go YouTube type of thing. Even though I can just, like I just mentioned, I can just go crazy, especially when it comes to PvP type of games. I'm that type of person that never shuts the hell up. And just make every type of sound effect imaginable. I'm the onomatopoeia guy, essentially. But yeah, when it comes to stuff like Trove, live stream, I like to always give out this relaxation vibe, because that's essentially Trove for the most part. Trove is not a competitive game. Trove is just a fun, casual game for you to play around with from time to time. And that is better for me to just sit back, talk a little bit, relax, so you can actually just have something to chill, have it in the background. Or maybe if you want to talk in the same time, then you have the option to talk. And yeah, it's just good vibes, good times. Let's just say that. Like the music that I'm listening to right now in the background, it's literally the embodiment of just being chill. Like, oh, sorry, but that's literally what I'm hearing right now in the background. It's just that. You can tell like that it's just completely other vibes of just relaxation. And I think it's good. I think it's just good for just have it. You know what? Hold on. Let me just put in something real quick. Let me just put in shut up, me. Shadow Hunter ring test is done, so that people just drop by when they are dropping by. And just have it right there, just have that pin. There we go, it's already pinned. And just have this, okay. So that when people are just joining in, they're like, oh, what is the testing? Where is it? I'm like, yeah. It's already done. It was 30 minutes or 20 minutes. It was super short. It was so easy. Now I'm just chatting and just being chill. I'm already done with the daily 5-star dungeon, so I can just sit right down and just chat. So if any of you actually just want to talk, just go ahead, just leave it as it is. I'm just in this vibe. What do you mean? What was the coolest effect? So yeah, I'm just going to say like I don't often just stream on YouTube. But hopefully every time I do this type of live stream, it's going to be more of a chatting stream. For grinding purposes, it's going to be more for Twitch. YouTube is mainly going to be for testing, and whenever I feel like doing any type of testing. So yeah. What class do I feel is the most underappreciated? I'll probably say Revenant. I would probably say Revenant right now. People really don't understand how good the Revenant is. Like, Revenant is good. Like, I will still put it right now as the second best overall class in the game. People really don't understand how good the class really is. Like, the class is super good. Like, it has arguably the best early game in the game. It has really good scaling. It can do pretty much essentially any type of content. The only thing that it doesn't do well is Leviathan. But at that point, who cares? Like, you're not essentially building a character just strictly to do Leviathans or strictly to do the delving. Which is... I think now that I mentioned this is a thing that people don't understand. It's like, characters that are high DPS are not usually characters that you should go and use every single time. Characters that are not like considered the top of the top in terms of DPS, Chloromancer mainly, for example, are not the character that you should just start up and grind up because it's the best in terms of single target DPS. Do not think about end game content if you are not in the end game, if you get what I mean. Like, that's what it is. Think of the character that just is going to help you out more, and then just go on with it, and then just use another character to fill up all of the voids. Yeah, Revenant, I would probably say Revenant, Chloro, or just Ice Age, to be honest. Ice Age can carry you pretty much the whole game. It's not going to be the best at anything, but it's definitely going to be good at everything. Yeah, there are several classes that you can just start with, and that character will carry you throughout the whole game. Some of the classes are, like I just mentioned, Revenant, Ice Age, Tomb Racer, for sure. Tomb Racer can carry you like a mother fifer. And what else? Dino Tamer can carry you somewhat, but Dino Tamer doesn't have the best DPS, and you need to build with cooldown reduction. But I mean, there, Draco is also another class, and Lunar Lancer for sure is going to be a pretty decent pick that will carry you throughout the most entirety of the game. Knight is going to be a hit or miss. Knight can carry you pretty much through all the early and all the way to the mid game. And maybe hitting, like, once you start hitting late game, that's when you need another class. Night subclass, I mean, you can easily run without night subclass. That is a video, actually, now that you mention it, that is a video that I scrapped completely. This was a hot topic. I was going to do a video just strictly saying that mounts are pretty much useless in this game, which they are. And the night subclass is overrated as well. Those are pretty much two of the things that I was going to do that I just scrapped it. I'm like, I really don't want to deal with people just talking nonsense. So two things that night subclass is kind of overrated, and mounts are pretty useless in this game. Not 100% useless, obviously. Like, there are some use on mounts, but you can easily just pass by without mounts, like easily. Especially considering how much movement speed there is nowadays. You can match or even surpass that of the night subclass even at the early portions of the game. And for the night subclass, you need 30k night to get 125 liber. Which is why I was like, yeah, mounts are pretty useless if you think about it. But I didn't mention it because obviously there are some people are gonna go like, oh, but what about critical damage equipment? Or what like you can run without crit damage equipment. It is what it is, but hey, whatever. Again, another tidbit of information out there that is not known and it's not spread, so people immediately just go, oh yeah, use night subclass, but they don't realize you need to power up a night to 30,000 power, and at that point you can easily just get 160 to 200 movement speed on every single class. And what's the point in just getting 125 on mounts if you can just easily reach 170, 160? Like, I'm like, it really makes no sense. Like, again, I see it being, I can see the easy uses, but for the most part, like, the importance is just all-time low. It's that's why I call the night subclass overrated in that aspect. But no, it's not purely overrated because Flask exists. For Flask, you don't need 30k PR night. The only thing you need is level 30. But you get what I mean. It's just like, from what I've heard, is like, oh yes, you get that boy got 2 Alberts in a fortress. Give me RNG, by the way. From what I've heard, it's like, oh no, like, night subclass movement speed 125, and it is going to be consistent. Consistent 125. But then you realize my knight has 112. Or even less. My pirate captain has 104. My lowest character has 104. One flask with, let me just get rid of these and let me just put trail. And with easily one flask, I wrote 124. That's one less movement speed than 30 kpr night sub. If I kill an enemy, 154. And so on and so on and so on. That's why, like, movement speed is best secondary stat on gear in the entire game. Primary stat is depending on what your class needs. And in reality, like, in some cases, some classes, movement speed is just better than any other stat. My movement speed is that valuable. Like, movement speed is so good because you can get it so early on and it's so strong. Like, you can get an ally like Rat the Berserker. And I don't have Proof of Penguin right here, but Proof of Penguin. My Chloro, yes, every single class. My Chloromancer also has movement speed 99. And yeah, even killing an enemy 129, so I'm faster than mounts. All of my classes, all of them. All 17 of them have movement speed. That's why I'm always... That's why you never see me running with mounts. Like, really rarely you see me running with mounts. Sometimes just like messing around like this, but for the most part, always no mounts. And that is a thing that I learned. And that's because of my knight. Since I've been maining the knight for 5 years, obviously the knight cannot use his own subclass, so I learned to play without mounts for so long, so that to the point that doing stuff like this is just the norm. You know. That's why like I never run, but like I said, movement speed, I put movement speed such a high value. It's because I pretty much had to force myself to use movement speed equipment, movement speed buff. And I realized how good it is. It is super easy to get movement speed in this game. And a crash. Okay. Thank you, Trove. Gotta love Trove. Being Trove. Get Trove me, I guess. But yeah, the thing is, and it is a thing that I noticed, especially when I leveled up my second account. When I leveled up my my secondary account, it made me realize how good movement speed really is. I'm going to die probably. No? Okay. Because that's one of the first things that I did use on my second account. I put in movement speed on my ref. And I definitely noticed that I was already just moving in at 140, 150 movement speed. I was already speed farming. Because it's so easy to get movement speed, because you can easily get movement speed equipment. Have weapon phase that's 16 a pop. You can easily get yourself a banner that grants you either 8 or 10 depending on which one that you have. A movement speed buff allies is not too expensive, you can easily get it. And if you're fortunate enough to get either Vampire Vanquisher and Pirate, especially Vampire Vanquisher, you're essentially in for luck. And then Trailblazing, because obviously Trail is super easy to maintain, like literally all the time. The good old-fashioned classic movement speed stacking. That allows you to run at 200 plus movement speed like no one's business. Like my maximum movement speed, like I did mention this in my overcharge video, like the maximum movement speed on the night is ridiculous. It's literally the same. Oh, to sneeze. Yeah. It's the same movement speed as like something like Dino Timber. It's so crazy. Like 274 maximum, 273 maximum movement speed. So crazy. Never thought that I would ever see the night just run at ridiculously high speed of over 270. The funny thing is, it's like you can just do that with every class. Oh, Pirate Captain. Oh, yes. I'm running around with my Pirate Captain. Let me just get Trill. Let me just kill enemies. And I'm already running really quickly. So, yeah. Anyways, I'm going back to the club. Been fun. Alright. Thank you for dropping by. See you on another time whenever they decide to drop some news on the Shadow Hunter. If I decide to do a stream like that. Or the next ring effect ability. Who knows? Whenever that will be. Alright. But yeah. For those who are just remaining right here, if you ever got any questions or anything, you can just type it in chat. But if not, then that's entirely fine. But just to put in a final verdict for those who were interested to hear my opinions on the Shadowhunter hidden effects, all of them are terrible. There may be like one that is okay. And that's it. This might end up being one of the shortest video, if not the shortest video, because all of them are super simple to explain and all of them are just completely horrible. So yeah, I might just end up sitting down after I'm done with this stream. I might end up sitting down and just putting in all of the notes. And what else? I will also put the poll, so stay tuned in the community tab to go into the poll to check out on which character would you like to vote after the Shadowhunter video. I'm going to leave that there, and I will probably just end up putting in a 48-hour limit instead of a 24 like I normally do. So a 48-hour limit, so I can actually just work in on the Shadowhunter video in the meantime. And then after 48 hours, I will just call it completely, and that will be the character that will be in the next episode. But with all that being said, thank you everyone for watching. Thank you for checking out as always. You can just go ahead and check out on my Twitch, twitch.tv/John1994 if you want more grinding from me personally. Then normally when I do this type of grinding livestream, then I will just do it right there. Also, make sure to subscribe if you want to help me out in reaching the milestone of 4K. And yeah, I hope to see you guys next time. Take care and keep on hunting. See ya.